Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is going to be my Wandavision episode 4 review. I've got a brand new microphone, as you can see just there, so hopefully this should be top audio quality. It better be for the amount of money I pay for this thing. Also, I think it's very sensitive, so if I make little movements with my notepad and stuff, it's probably going to pick that up as well. But you know, it's a work in progress. It means I haven't got to wear a headset, which I always breathe a lot into, and it's a bit distracting. I haven't got a filter thingy for this yet, but hopefully I'm testing it. It doesn't seem to be too bad so far, so fingers crossed it'll be alright. Let me know what you think, please. So yeah, episode 4. This is where things get going. So this is a spoiler review, so you know, if you haven't seen the episode yet, don't watch the rest of this unless you want it to be spoiled for you, because I will. So this is the episode we've all been building to. I think it's 9 episodes in total, and this is episode 4. So the first 3 were really they've really stuck to that classic sitcom format, and this is the first one we kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on, and we finally get the reveal of the character Monica Rambeau, which I knew from the start because it was, you know, it wasn't really hidden that that's who she was, the character Geraldine we saw in the show, but I purposely haven't mentioned it previously in case people didn't know that, and it's, you know, it's an extra surprise for people, which is cool. But yeah, we saw people, including Monica, reappearing after the snap, which was really cool. I like the effect of them kind of reconstituting, and then it just being to them like they'd never been anywhere. Because in Spider-Man: Far From Home, people just kind of appeared, which was, you know, still cool. But obviously it's different people making this, so they went with a different effect, which, you know, works for me. I like it. So we know that Monica Rambeau is the daughter of Maria Rambeau from Captain Marvel, which she mentioned that she's since died. And Monica is obviously much older than when we last saw her, because when we saw her in Captain Marvel, which was mid-90s, she's a small girl, and now she's a fully grown woman, and she works for S.W.O.R.D., and this was our official introduction to S.W.O.R.D., which in the comics was more of a space kind of thing, but they do mention it in the show that after what happened with the snap and everything, like they lost some of their astronauts, the ones remaining didn't have the stomach for it, so they kind of reconstituted as more of a sentient weapon thing, as they say in the show, which makes perfect sense because that's literally what Wanda is. She's a sentient weapon. But I like that whole thing. Like, they really covered a lot in this one episode. Like, it was quite shocking, as I say, a drastic departure from like the sitcom thing to just a more of a normal kind of what you expect from a Marvel show or movie sort of thing. But yeah, I really like what they did with it. They answered a lot of questions. Really loved Jimmy Woo reappearing after his appearance in Ant-Man and the Wasp, played by Randall Park, who is just brilliant in everything. Like, he's great, so I'm so glad he's in the Marvel universe still. And the little thing that I didn't notice this myself, I'm not going to take credit for this, it wasn't until I saw somebody else point out that he does the trick with the card, which he was trying to learn in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they've paid that off. Like 5 years later, he's finally learnt the trick where he makes his like, you know, his business card or whatever you'd have as an FBI agent. I don't really know, but I thought that was cool, and it's good to see Darcy Lewis, played by Kat Dennings from the Thor films. That all kind of works together. You know, you can bring all these different characters in and put them in this environment, and it all works really well. But yeah, basically they go to the town of Westview, which nobody knows exists anymore, and it looks completely empty, but it's surrounded by the force field. So it kind of answered, you know, that Wanda is the one that's doing this, which we kind of always suspected from the start. This is her way of dealing with things, is that she's created this world, which she did in the comics in House of M, which I've seen a lot of people comparing it to, but other than that, there's not really that much similarity so far, I'd say. I wouldn't say this is direct House of M adaptation, apart from, you know, the main thing is that she's created this new world, but it's very different other than that. But yeah, another thing they identified was that the people in the show, like, that they're watching, because they find the signal and they watch it, they're actual people who presumably lived in that town, and Wanda's kind of taken them over, which kind of adds a whole villainous sort of dark aspect to it as well. But I liked Jimmy and Kat watching the shows on the TV and kind of getting invested in it as well, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and you see them go through the whole thing about they name the different decades of the show and go, oh no, this is a 50s sitcom, this is a 60s sitcom, which is basically what we've been doing as the watching audience, going to go, oh yeah, this is meant to be the 50s, meant to be the 60s, and I'm assuming now they're going to carry on with kind of a mixture of the two, like, you know, they're going to have the real world and then the sitcom world, because we've already seen clips of them doing like 90s sitcoms that looks like based off like Roseanne and stuff like that, so I'm assuming that's what they're going to kind of go with. But yeah, it's interesting that they did such a drastic departure from the, you know, the format we're used to going into this one. And also we saw them watching the bit from the previous episode where Monica mentions Ultron, and then we saw the whole thing where she forces her out, but what they saw on their TV was just a little, like, it just immediately cut to the credits sort of thing, which is quite cool. The shot that I really liked was when Wanda, her illusion's been kind of shattered a little bit, so then when Vision comes back in, she sees him dead like he really is, kind of thing, and it was almost like a horror movie kind of shot, where you see him with like his skull caved in, and he's all like ashen and kind of dark, like when he died, he kind of shut down and went all discoloured. And they ended the show on Voodoo Child, which is great. That was a really cool little bit. Like that's an unmistakable riff whenever you use it, and that was really cool. But yeah, like I said, I'm guessing that we're going to get a mixture of the two different things. Like I said, they answered a lot of questions, but I was quite surprised that I thought they were going to leave a few threads hanging there. But they kind of showed like the toy helicopter Wanda found, I keep getting the names mixed up, was like a drone from the Sword drone, and they showed the beekeeper was just a guy in like a full kind of almost astronaut kind of suit coming in from the outside, and then she obviously got him back out again. And there's one other thing as well, I can't remember what it was now, but we knew it was Jimmy Woo on the radio talking to Monica when she was talking to Emma Caulfield's character Dottie in that one episode. I think it was episode 2, I think. See, I'm quite surprised they answered so many questions straight away, but obviously the bigger question is still there, like what exactly is going on. But like I said, we do know it is Wanda behind it all now, sort of thing. And is she going to be a bit more villainous like going forward? I know there are a couple of villains that are in this that they haven't identified yet, so I'm not going to say who they are, but it's pretty confident of who it is. The only thing missing from this episode for me was lack of a catchy theme song, because I missed the theme songs from the previous episodes, which get stuck in your head for a couple of days, and no Catherine Hahn as well, so that loses points for me. But no, I get it. It's like I say, it was nice. It was a big departure, and I feel like it was a good thing to do, because I feel 3 episodes of the sitcom format was fine for me, but I think for a lot of people who are a bit more sort of casual about these things, like who like the films but aren't as proper into it as some of us are, I think if they'd done another episode just like that, I think it would have lost people. So I think it was a good idea they did it this way and kind of tied it all together a little bit, so people go, okay, I get where this is going. We've still got a lot more episodes to go. So but yeah, I say really good. I really enjoyed it. There was no messing around in this episode. They got straight into it. They said this is what's happening and these are what we need to answer. So yeah, really good stuff. I'm really enjoying it. So we're not quite at the halfway point. So like I say, it's 9 episodes, which is an odd number of episodes, but it's all good. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been enjoyable. Please leave a like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.